The strange reports on Bray Road were never an isolated case. They were part of a broader pattern, threads in a tapestry of unsettling encounters that stretched far beyond Wisconsin. To understand this phenomenon fully, one must look to Michigan, the Ozarks, the Appalachians, the Northern Plains, and even the Missouri River itself. These places, steeped in folklore and shadow, gave rise to legends that blurred the boundary between myth and reality. The bizarre sightings in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, found their counterpart in the dense pine forests of Michigan. Here, the creature became known as the Dogman, a name that cemented itself as synonymous with the American werewolf archetype. The Michigan Dogman was not a vague campfire story, but a legend crystallized by a single, powerful piece of modern media. Descriptions of the creature were chillingly consistent. Eyewitnesses reported a 7-foot-tall monster with the head of a wolf, the body of a man, and glowing, intelligent eyes that seemed to pierce through the darkness. Covered in matted fur and moving with uncanny agility, the Dogman appeared most often at the edges of clearings, lonely roads, and logging trails. The encounters were almost always fleeting, a shocking glimpse of an impossible predator before it vanished back into the trees. What made the Michigan Dogman truly remarkable was the way its legend exploded into the public consciousness. In 1987, a Traverse City radio DJ named Steve Cook recorded a song called The Legend as an April Fool's Day prank. The song blended various regional stories into a ballad about a werewolf-like creature haunting the Northwoods. To his surprise, the song had an unintended effect. Dozens of listeners began calling in with their own accounts of seeing something similar. What began as a joke transformed into a cultural event. The Dogman became more than a regional curiosity. It was a modern folk creation. A single act of fiction had tapped into something deeper, an undercurrent of fear already embedded in the community's psyche. The story mirrors the way old European werewolf legends once spread, but with a distinctly American flavor. In Europe, the werewolf was a cursed human. In Michigan, the Dogman was a raw, physical predator. Not a man transformed, but a beast in its own right. The Dogman legend highlights a recurring anxiety of the Northwoods, the terror of an intelligent predator. In the silent forests, people feared not only the wolves that prowled at night, but also the possibility of something greater, something that combined human cunning with animal ferocity. Whether born from the shadowy roads of the Midwest, the trail of cryptids winds south into the ancient Ozark Mountains. Here the predator takes on a stranger, more spectral form. Known as the Ozark Howler, this creature is remembered not for what is seen, but for what is heard. Accounts describe it as a bear-sized beast, covered in dark, shaggy hair, with curved horns and glowing red eyes. Yet the creature's true terror lies in its voice. Witnesses describe its call as a nightmarish combination of a wolf's howl, an elk's bugle, and the maniacal laughter of a hyena. The sound carries through the valleys like a warning, transforming the forest into an active menace. Legends of the Ozark Howler may be older than the mountains themselves. Its description aligns closely with British black dog myths, where spectral canines with glowing eyes were seen as omens of death. Early settlers may have carried these tales with them, only to find them reborn in the lonely woods of America. The black beast with burning eyes became a transplanted folklore, given a new life and new voice in the Ozarks. The Ozark Howler. If the Ozark Howler is a phantom of sound, the Wampus Cat is a creature of punishment, born from myth and bound by a curse. The legend originates in the Appalachian Mountains, particularly among the Cherokee people. It is not simply a story of a beast, but a cautionary tale about jealousy, sacred boundaries, and the consequences of defying tradition. According to the story, a woman named Running Deer became consumed by jealousy, convinced her husband was unfaithful. Determined to uncover his secrets, she followed him to a sacred hunting ceremony, a ritual from which women were strictly forbidden. To hide herself, she cloaked her body in the skin of a cougar, hoping to blend into the shadows. But the shamans conducting the ritual immediately sensed her presence. Discovering her disguise and violation of sacred law, they cast a powerful curse. The cougar's skin fused with her body, transforming her into a half-woman, half-feline monster. She became the Wampus Cat, doomed to roam the mountains forever, a terrifying guardian of traditions she had dared to defy. The story serves as a supernatural warning that certain knowledge is forbidden, and crossing sacred boundaries leads to ruin. It echoes myths from around the world where transgressors are transformed into monsters. From Greek tales of women turned to harpies or gorgons, to Celtic myths of cursed hunters. In Appalachian communities, the Wampus Cat became both a story of cultural preservation and a fearsome bedtime warning. Parents invoked it to teach respect for tradition, while hunters spoke of strange feline shadows in the woods. For locals, the Wampus Cat was not just a monster, but a living moral lesson, embodying the consequences of betrayal, curiosity, and sacrilege. While many cryptids remain shadows of myth, some bleed into reality through strange artifacts. Among these is the Shunka Warakin, a wolf-like beast from the traditions of the Iowa people. The name itself translates roughly to "carries off dogs," a fitting description for a predator said to raid villages and terrify livestock. The Shunka Warakin was described as wolf-like but distinct, with sloping shoulders, an unusually powerful build, and a muzzle unlike any known wolf. Frontiersmen feared it as something uncanny, an unnatural predator among familiar animals. This legend became more tangible in the late 19th century. In Montana's Madison Valley, a rancher named Israel Ammon Hutchins shot and killed a strange beast that had been preying on his livestock. Recognizing its unusual features, he had it preserved by a taxidermist. The mounted specimen, nicknamed the ringdocus, became a local marvel displayed in shops and later in a small museum. For decades, the creature's body was treated as proof of a legend. Scientists debated its identity, some suggesting it was a misidentified wolf, coyote, or hyena. Others believed it might represent a relic of a long-extinct species. The specimen itself was eventually lost, only to be rediscovered in the 2000s, reigniting interest in its true identity. The Shunka Warakin remains a perfect cryptozoological mystery. A creature born from folklore, witnessed by settlers, and preserved as a physical body that continues to defy classification. Unlike Bigfoot, whose evidence is often blurry or anecdotal, the Shunka Warakin had a physical presence, a corpse that challenged science itself. From the windswept plains, the trail of monsters flows into the heart of the Missouri River. Among the Mandan and Sioux peoples, the river was said to be home to a terrifying hybrid beast known as the Miniwashitu. Descriptions of the Miniwashitu paint a bizarre picture: a fur-covered body like a bison, but aquatic in nature, a single blazing red eye set in its head, a long, sharp horn, and a jagged dorsal ridge running down its spine. Its limbs were said to move with equal power on land and beneath the water. The Miniwashitu was not merely a monster, but a living personification of the river's dangers. The Missouri was the lifeblood of the Plains tribes, but it was also perilous, with whirlpools, floods, and treacherous currents. The Miniwashitu embodied these dangers in physical form. To encounter it was considered a death omen, a sure sign of drowning. Its legend mirrors other aquatic monsters worldwide: the Scottish Loch Ness Monster, the Japanese Kappa, or the South American Yakumama. Each culture shaped its environmental fears into monstrous guardians, warning people of nature's hidden perils. To the Mandan and Sioux, the Miniwashitu was not just a tale. It was a guide for survival. By giving the river a face, the legend transformed an invisible danger into something tangible. A monster could be feared, respected, and avoided, while a faceless current might simply take its victims without warning. From Michigan's Dogman to the Miniwashitu of the Missouri River, each of these legends reflects a different way Americans have given form to their deepest fears. Whether born from sacred traditions, transplanted folklore, or encounters with strange creatures, these stories endure because they speak to something universal. The wilderness is vast, dangerous, and often unknowable. To navigate it, people have always created monsters, part warning, part explanation, and part reflection of the human psyche.